The population of the USA is aging, and the biggest population bulge in U.S. history, the baby boomers, are now entering their 60s. What are the implications of this trend for the USA, and how can aging become a more friendly process? Stay tuned as we discuss aging in place and the age-friendly community.
Welcome to The Better Part, a program that encompasses a diverse spectrum of topics important to our community, which we hope will both inform and entertain you. We invite you to sit back and enjoy the program.
Hello, my name is Charles Bedord, and my guest today is Dr. Annabelle Pelham. Dr. Pelham is Professor of Emerita in the Department of Gerontology at San Francisco State University and is the current president of the National Association for Professional Gerontologists. She is also founding director of the Center for Age-Friendly Excellence in Los Altos, California. Dr. Pelham, welcome to The Better Part. I appreciate you being able to be here.
Thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit about your background and how you first became interested in the topic of aging?
Sure. Well, I'm a social scientist. I got my master's at San Francisco State University and my doctorate at the University of California, San Francisco. I'm an activist, Charles. I've always been interested in trying to make the world a better place. And as I went along over the years, it became clear to me that older people needed a lot of support. And there was a lot of misunderstanding about aging and older persons, so I've taken that on as my mission.
Well, that sounds very interesting. Well,
Yeah.
That's great. You know, we hear a lot today about how the population of the United States, and especially the big baby boom bulge, is starting to age.
Yes.
And what are the, how rapidly is the United States aging, the population of this country?
Well, one statistic that I think impresses a lot of people is that every day 10,000 people turn 65.
Really?
Every day,
Wow.
10,000 people. So that's the baby boom. And the interesting thing about the baby boom is that it's not just in the United States, it's all over the world because there was a baby boom internationally. So actually, it's our planet that's aging. And interestingly, the developing countries, the so-called developing countries, are aging even faster than the so-called developed countries. So the numbers are increasing pretty dramatically, and between now and 2030, that's when that age wave is going to be peaking.
I see. So it really is a very significant ongoing bulge that's building up and moving down the pipeline.
Yes, yes.
So if this is happening, then what are some of the implications of aging on American society and perhaps also on society in other countries too?
Right. Well, every institution on Earth is going to have to change because of the aging of the population. In the next few years, fully 20% of the population is going to be over age 65.
Really?
I mean, imagine that, 20%, that's 1/5 of the population.
Is this in the United States or
Oh,
worldwide?
it's in the United States and the so-called developed countries,
I see.
but the numbers are increasing internationally. So every institution is going to have to change, and change in a way to appreciate and involve the resource that older people represent in the community. So it's not just a burden or a problem, it's an exciting opportunity to engage older people in community life.
And this will probably involve some economic expenditures too then on the parts of different countries.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, entitlement programs, we're going to have to take a look at entitlement programs. But the thing about entitlement programs, if we can help people stay healthy and engaged and participating in social life of our communities and our cities and our nation states, then we won't become a burden, we'll become a resource.
Very well put. I like to hear that. I know in the past, excuse me, I've talked to you once before and you just talked about the concept of an age-friendly city.
Right.
Can you talk about what is an age-friendly city and how did this idea arise?
Right. Well, several years ago, the United Nations studied cities around the world. They studied 33 cities to find out what was it about those cities that were welcoming and accommodating of older people. And so what they did was they collected data on what it takes to be an age-friendly community or an age-friendly city. And they were able to identify 8 domains, and I have my cheat sheet here of,
Okay.
of the 8 domains. And so these domains highlight what cities and communities ought to be looking at when they want to make a community age-friendly. And I think something to understand about age-friendly is that it's not for older people only, it's intergenerational, because we all benefit by a city being age-friendly. Better lighting, better transport, better engagement, sidewalks that are safe, ability to cross streets in a timely way without the flashing light running,
Yes, I know exactly what you
running
mean.
out on you and that kind of thing. So there are these 8 domains. And so the United Nations World Health Organization, WHO in Geneva, have been trying to educate and enlighten communities around the world about how to implement these 8 domains.
Well, certainly, I think I'd like to hear, and I think our guests would like to hear some of these domains too in a little more detail.
Sure, well, I'll use my cheat
Sure.
sheet here. But the first one is outdoor spaces and buildings. And that's talking about accessibility and availability and safe recreational facilities. Transportation, and this talks about a variety of modes of transportation so that people of all ages can get around, particularly in the area of public transportation. Housing is the third, and what that means is a wide range of housing choices, including housing that has universal design and that's affordable. Social participation, that means people have an opportunity to engage in civic life, and older people can be involved in civic opportunities in their community. Respect and social inclusion. And what this means is understanding that older people are a diverse population. So we want to have opportunities for all people to be involved in public life, ethnic and cultural diversity. Excuse me. Civic participation and employment. Opportunities for people to be working part-time, half-time, as consultants, and that we diminish the age discrimination that goes on in so many cities. Communication and information is 7, and this talks about the use of technology like we're doing here to keep older people informed of what's going on. And community support and health services. That means community-based health and human services.
Now, you made a mention of one of the points about housing. What was that again, please?
Well, about housing is a wide range of housing options.
I see.
And particularly housing that has universal design.
Yes, I was going to ask you, what do you mean by universal design?
Right. It's housing that welcomes people that may have limited access, people that may have a disability. But when you think about it, universal design helps all of us. It makes our homes, our apartments, our condos easier to access for all people.
I know, too, people that tend to think more in terms of multi-generational housing now,
Right.
too.
We're seeing a lot of that.
Right,
Yeah.
especially here in the Bay Area,
Yes.
where elderly people are moving in with younger family members and living with them.
Yeah. There are some contractors now that are actually building homes that are designed for 3-generation families.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, can you tell me, where would you go to find an age-friendly city today? You have a list there. It sounds very idealistic. Does this type of city exist somewhere in the world?
Oh, yes. There are 38 in the United States,
Really?
age-friendly cities. And if you go on the World Health Organization website, you can see where the age-friendly cities are located around the world. So there's 38 in the U.S., and if you go down the road just a little bit from here, you can go to Los Altos. And Los Altos Hills were the first age-friendly cities in California.
That's interesting. Right in our own backyard here.
Right in our own backyard. That's right.
So I've got to ask you, where are some other age-friendly cities?
Well, in California, it's Roseville, and San Francisco just became an age-friendly city. So in this area, we've got Los Altos Hills, Roseville, Sausalito. I worked with Sausalito. That happened just a few months ago, and then San Francisco.
Fascinating.
So that's in our area.
And outside of our area?
Well, let's see, probably Portland would be
Portland,
the
okay.
closest one north, and I would have to consult my list to see
Right.
the others. But there are 38 in the United States.
Okay. Another concept that I've heard discussed more and more, I know you had mentioned it in the past, and it's been brought up in other forum too, aging in place.
Right.
What is aging in place? And what are the types of services needed to permit
Hmm.
aging in place? But just first of all, maybe you could just discuss the idea. What is that?
Right, right. Well, what aging in place means is that a person can spend as much time as possible in their later life, in their home, in their apartment, in their condo, without facing the fear of having to go to assisted living or nursing home. Sometimes that's the only option and the only choice. But what we found out is that it takes very, very little to maintain a person at home. And what that means is we bring community-based services to that person. For example, home delivered meals, transportation to the doctor, a little help around the house with, say, bathing or preparing meals or doing laundry.
Hmm.
It takes very, very little. So aging in place means having the resources in the community that we can bring to the person in his home or her home to help them. It also means developing a network of helpers that people can be supportive of the person aging in place at home.
I see. I know certainly I've used some assistance too, and the availability of some live-in help can be very important too.
Sure.
People can help you, let's say, early in the morning and late in the evening, getting
Right,
out of bed, getting into bed,
right,
etc.
right.
That's very important, and to have that available on an affordable basis.
Well, yeah, and there's a new professional class. They're called geriatric care managers. And what they do is they look at the community, they look at the resources that are available, and they put together a care plan.
Really?
Yeah, they identify the resources you may need to be independent at home, and they put together a care plan and they share that with you and your family so that you can know what's available and access those resources.
And that's available here in the Bay Area
Yeah,
then.
those are called geriatric care managers.
Is this fairly recent or?
Fairly recent. I mean, some of them are free. The services are free, for example, at El Camino Hospital. There are others that have a fee-for-service model,
I see.
but given what you get, they're very economical. Once you get that care plan in place, you can act on it on your own.
I see. Okay. I understand that much of your work has been centered in Los Altos and Los Altos Hills.
Yes.
And can you tell us why were these communities selected by you? I mean, what made these communities inviting for you to become involved with and use in your work?
Right. Well, first of all, and most important, I live in Los Altos.
Okay, well that certainly is a factor.
So I could be there to do the work. But more importantly, I think, when we first started in California, there were no age-friendly cities or communities. So I wanted to work in a place with my team where it was small enough that you could kind of get a handle on what was going on in that community. In order to be an age-friendly city or community, you have to do a research project on what are the needs, what are the unmet needs of older persons in your community. So we needed to have a small enough place where we could actually gather data. So we got a small grant from the Health Trust and from the City of Los Altos to conduct a research project of what were the unmet needs of seniors in Los Altos,
Oh, great.
in Los Altos
Great.
Hills. Also, Los Altos has about 30%, about 1/3 of the population are older persons. So that was an appropriate setting to do an age-friendly study. So we did that. We put together a plan that we submitted to the World Health Organization. The important thing about age-friendly, it's not that we were perfect or that we've done everything we can possibly do.
Hmm.
What it means is we have the intention. We want to do the right thing around making our city, our community age-friendly. We know what the needs are. We know what we need to do. We have a plan, and we're acting on it. So it's really about intention. So I've worked with other communities since then to help them come up to speed, and we want to expand our efforts to Mountain View and other communities, Palo Alto, to help them have an age-friendly status very soon.
Now I notice in your when you're discussing this, you use the term "we" a lot, and you use
Yeah.
the term team. Can you tell us now? So involves more than just you as an individual.
Oh,
Can you tell
yes.
us about who we
Yeah,
is
it's
and
a
a
team.
little bit about your team?
Yeah. Well, when I first started working on the research for the Age-Friendly City, I worked with a group of graduate students from San Francisco State University. We worked with the Recreation Department in Los Altos. The City Council was very supportive with a
I see.
small grant, so we did that. And over time, we've expanded our partnerships so that we're working with the Rotary, for example, the Los Altos Rotary. We've done projects with Link Ages. We've done projects with the Boy Scouts. We've done projects with a lot of different community groups. So when I say we, it's a team effort. It's a partnership.
Okay, so it's the city's involvement and also the involvement on the part of graduate students, et cetera.
Oh yeah, and also the Los Altos Community Foundation has been very active in supporting these efforts to promote the Age-Friendly City initiative and all the little projects that we've done.
Hmm. So as far as graduate students and so on, is gerontology kind of a growing area of interest in graduate schools now and in colleges?
Yes. Well, especially at the graduate level, the programs we have locally are at San Francisco State and San Jose State, graduate studies in gerontology. At Foothill College, we have an emerging certificate program. There is a gap, however, between what the need is and what higher education can provide. That's something we need to work on. There's a huge need for aging professionals in the field right now, but our graduate programs cannot produce enough professionals to meet those needs, nor can the community colleges, and we need to work on that. These programs need a lot more support.
So you need to work to get more programs or more students enrolled in the program.
It's both. These programs need support. They need to hire faculty. They need administrators to run them. We need grants and scholarships to attract and support students.
I see.
It's the whole package that needs support.
I see. So then, of
Yes.
course, it all comes down to, I suppose, money.
Yes, yes, it does.
Yes.
Yes, it does. But we're hopeful that employers that are desperate for staff can look around out there and say, oh my, if we're going to have professional staff, we're going to have to educate them.
Right.
Yeah.
So you've been living in the Bay Area for about how long now?
A long time.
Okay.
Yeah, since the middle 1970s.
So in your opinion, how interested is the Bay Area as generally? I'm talking about the Bay Area as a whole, all the way from, let's say, Gilroy up to Napa,
Yeah.
as far as the issues of aging in place and age-friendly cities. Do you find that in most cases you have to really go out and sell this idea hard, or is this an issue that cities are already aware of and they're working on?
Yeah. Well, you know, I've been in this field a long time. I really have, since the middle 1970s at least. And when I first got started, people didn't know what gerontology was. One time I was called a germologist. But things have changed dramatically in the years that I've been in the field, so that people now understand that the planet is aging, our nation is aging, our state is aging. So I think people are becoming more and more aware of gerontology, of the aging of the population. And I think they're becoming aware of the enormous resource that older people can bring to our communities. I think that's becoming clear. So actually, I'm really optimistic and hopeful. I've seen a lot of change in the last few years, and it's been in the right direction. It's been for the good.
Are there changes happening outside of Los Altos Hills
Oh,
too?
sure. Well, I just mentioned Roseville
Yes.
as an age-friendly city, so that's up, I guess, around the Sacramento area.
Right.
So yeah, and I think, you know, Sacramento, our political leaders are understanding the need to adapt to an aging population and the resources they represent. So I'm feeling pretty encouraged. I think it's good news.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about when cities say that, okay, we'd like to become more age-friendly
Right.
and they want to move forward, what are the most common types of changes that these cities have to make?
Right. Well, there's a very good guidebook on the World Health Organization website. It's downloadable, it's free, it's very accessible. So people can go to that guidebook and take a look at how you go about becoming more age-friendly. one of the first things I think you want to do is put together a team of older adults, a group of seniors who are willing to take on this project and work on it. WHO expects the work to be led by seniors, and so
I see.
so I would encourage that. There's also this list of areas of domains that one can look at and say, where can we improve? You may not be able to do an activity in all 8 domains, but you could do an activity in 2 or 3, and then have plans for the future about how to do it better. There's lots of help around. I'm certainly here. We just founded a new center in Los Altos. We'll talk about that later.
Yes.
And happy to help communities to become more age-friendly.
Okay, so then essentially too, the older individuals would work with the younger individuals too.
Sure. Oh, yeah. It's wonderful to be intergenerational.
And certainly there's a graduate program at San Francisco State University.
That's right.
And are there, what other schools in the area have graduate programs in this, or any or any programs at all, let's say?
Well, see, that's part of the problem. We need to grow these programs. We need to grow the gerontology programs. I would say especially at Foothill College. That's in our own community, in our own neighborhood. That program needs our support. We really need to get that program off the ground and running.
So is this a relatively new program?
It's fairly new. It's trying to get rolling. The dean, I have to say, is very supportive.
I see.
But they need leadership. They need resources. We need to get the community involved in growing that program.
Now, if a person wants to go into gerontology, do you get an undergraduate degree first and then go to graduate school, or do you get an undergraduate degree in another discipline such as psychology,
Right.
sociology, and then go into gerontology? What is the type of career path that a person might go through there?
Yeah, there are several ways one can do this. They have certificate programs like at Foothill for people that already have a baccalaureate or who are entering the field. At San Francisco State, in our graduate program, people come to us with baccalaureate degrees in all kinds of disciplines, maybe health and human services, behavioral and social sciences. And then the gold standard in the field right now is the master's program.
I see.
Probably the largest program in the area is San Francisco State. There's a fine program at San Jose State as well. But most people come with a variety of undergraduate degrees, and then they have a master's in gerontology. There are a handful of baccalaureate programs, but the gold standard, as I said, is the master's.
Do you happen to know offhand if there's programs at the UC system? Or?
Yes, well, the UC system, for the most part, graduates people at the doctoral level like myself. So when I got my doctorate, I was at UCSF. But the real sort of workhorse, if you will, in producing gerontologists is the CSU system.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
at San Francisco State, I'm proud to say, we have graduated 2 generations of gerontologists.
Well, that's terrific.
Right.
That's great.
Yeah.
So maybe you've touched on this already, but I was going to ask you if some older people are interested in getting involved in making cities age-friendly. Again, you probably have touched on this, but how do they go about it? I mean, do they contact you? Do they walk into City Hall and meet the greeter behind the desk and say, I'd like to talk to someone about this? Or how do they go about this?
Right. Well, the first thing I would do is download that PDF, I think. So you have the guidelines from the World Health Organization.
Do you
So
happen to know
that
the link to that?
just go to the World Health Organization website and put in age-friendly cities, or you could just put in age-friendly cities in
So
your
you
search.
could just Google
and it pops
age-friendly cities.
Age-friendly cities, and there it is. There's a PDF. It's very accessible. So I would do that first, get a team together first of people who want to take on this work. Certainly reach out to me and Cafe in Los Altos, happy to help. And then I think once you've done that, is meet with the city leadership, the city mothers and fathers in the community, and find out which organizational element, which piece is more likely to start working with you. We worked with the recreation department, and then we went on up the level to work with the city council. And we worked with the town council in Los Altos Hills when we got started. And so you form a team within the city, within the town, within the community, and your home team that's working on this. And you take a look at these 8 domains. There's a very clear set of guidelines from the World Health Organization, and it's a process. It takes about 2 years, even if everybody is excited and working
Right.
hard on it. It's a process, because you have to conduct a study of what are your unmet needs. You have to do a
Right.
needs assessment of what elders in your community need, and put together a plan of how you're going to meet those needs. And then those with the documents are submitted to WHO. So it takes a while, but
Okay.
I'm happy to help.
Okay, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
Now, I know you've used the term Center for Age-Friendly Excellence,
Yes.
abbreviated CAFE.
Yes.
Could you talk a little bit about CAFE
Oh, I'd
and
love to.
what it does, how it started, and your involvement in that?
Right, okay. Well, CAFE is a new organization. It was founded in Los Altos. It's a project of the Los Altos Community Foundation. CAFE is the Center for Age-Friendly Excellence. And what we're doing in CAFE is we're trying to support our communities, our neighborhoods, and California and beyond to become age-friendly. So we're a community resource. So we help with technical assistance, we help people find resources, we help people convene and organize. So we're in the business of supporting communities and becoming age-friendly. We also would like to have Los Altos Hills, Mountain View, and beyond be living laboratories, that's what we're calling them, of age friendliness. What kinds of projects and initiatives can we take on? What kind of partnerships can we form?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of private, public sector resources can we bring to the table to help communities be more age friendly? So we have our board of directors in place
Okay.
now. Our strategic plan is done. Our first board meeting is June the 5th. So you're on the cutting edge of the news.
Okay.
So we're just getting launched.
So this is a very well-developed, structured program, then.
Yes, oh yes, oh yes. We had a team at Stanford University write our strategic plan.
Great.
21 pages of strategic plan. Yes, but it's
And
good.
you read every word, right?
I helped write every word, so yeah, so I know. Yeah, it's good. It's exciting. We're very excited.
We're running short on time now, but do you have any closing remarks that you'd like to make?
Oh, well, thank you for the opportunity to be with you today. And I want to encourage everyone to think about age-friendly cities and age-friendly communities and reach out to me and to us with CAFE. Happy to be supportive, and let's go onward.
Okay, well, that sounds great.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for being here today, Annabelle, and I certainly enjoyed our discussion.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you,
Oh,
and
of
welcome to
course.
the Better
Oh,
Part.
thank you, of course.
Thank you for joining us on The Better Part, and I hope you have found the show to be informative. Be sure and view this and other Better Part shows on YouTube. See you next week.